Am I the asshole? Take 29,000.
Oh, you like Super Hot Fire. Your numbers keep changing crazy every episode.
Yes.
Super Hot Fire went from like 5 and 0 to 5,000 and 0.
5,000. All right. Well, I'm gonna go ahead and pick. I don't know.
Do the what? The Call My Wife Fat one.
All right.
You got the whole thing there?
Yeah, it's long.
Okay, go for it.
Am I the asshole for calling my wife fat? I, 34-year-old male, work in a physically demanding field. Myself and my coworkers are all fit people without a lot of body type variety. My wife, 32, female, is fat. The thing is, well,
Because I thought something else was coming. You just said is fat. Oh man. All right, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
straight to the point. The thing is, she's always been fat. The whole time I've known her. We dated when she was fat, and she got married. Oh, we got married when she was fat. She knows she's fat. I didn't read all of this before. I probably wouldn't have picked this. She's fat and she's beautiful. I'm happy if
BBW.
I'm happy if she loses weight, and I'm happy if she stays where she is. I think she's the most beautiful woman in the world as is. One of my coworkers, Julia, 28-year-old female, started complaining that she's too far to be loved. I think that's supposed to say too fat to be loved. And fat people don't get to be loved. Julia needs to go to therapy. Julia isn't fat. She's maybe 120 pounds. She works out 5 times a week and barely ever eats. I told her that wasn't true and that my wife was fat. She got really red in the face and started telling me I wasn't allowed to call my wife fat, that I was insulting her, and that my wife was beautiful and curvy. Carol doesn't like being called curvy. She thinks it's a label used to avoid calling people fat because it's a dirty word to most people. I told Julia as much. Julia started threatening to tell my wife I called her fat. She pulled up her Instagram and told me she was messaging Carol that I was being mean. I beat her to the punch and called my wife, put her on speaker, and asked if she was curvy or fat. Carol laughed and said, I hate that curvy shit. Fat and beautiful, baby. I thanked her, told her I loved her, and hung up. As soon as I hit end, Julia went mental. She started screaming that I was abusing my wife. When I asked, she said I was clearly brainwashing her into accepting the term fat to try to keep her complacent and from getting away from me. That no woman in her right mind could be okay with their husband calling them fat. I showed her a picture of my wife in a shirt that had BBW on it. She bought it for herself, by the way.
Love it.
She stormed off and hasn't spoken to me since. Now, I just walked in today to an email from HR requesting a meeting with me. This is why I wanted to do it, because I was like, how did HR get involved?
Because it happened at work.
Well, yes, but I just feel like this went left.
Because Julia is a Karen.
Julia is a Karen.
Who really needs help.
Julia is the asshole. And
Julia is the asshole.
I don't think it's a big deal. I have my wife's blog for fat positivity, the shirt, and can easily call her for proof. But now things are frigid at work, and Julia constantly gives me dirty looks when we're in the same room. She ignores me otherwise. So I'm just over here scratching my head. Am I the asshole for calling my wife fat? Edit/update. So I met with HR at 4 o'clock today. Apparently multiple coworkers who had overheard the conversation stopped by HR through the day to give their side and weigh in. I wasn't in trouble, they just wanted my side of things. It checked out with what everyone else had said too. I still don't know which of my crew stopped by, but I owe them my life. I offered to show my wife's blog, and our rep, who's a really nice girl, told me that if it didn't affect my work, it was irrelevant. The story had been corroborated enough by others. HR reiterated a lot of what y'all said. Even though Julia initiated the conversation, I shouldn't have jumped in. It was less of a scolding and more of a request to keep my nose out of other people's business. I'm sad because I thought Julia and I were friends. We talked about our mental health struggles, the hardships of the field we're in, and heavy things like that. Won't be having those conversations any further. Julia and I will no longer be paired on teams for patient care. I was told my part in the investigation was done, and they thanked me for my time. So I think I'm going to be okay. Before I left, I told HR if weight loss slash body image wasn't supposed to be a topic of conversation, they should consider enforcing that on a company level. We have a weight loss challenge. I suggested making it a fitness challenge instead. She said they'd take that into consideration. So that's it. I wrapped up my treatments. Everything will hopefully shake out. Haven't spoken to Julia, hoping to avoid her for the near future. Thank you all for the sanity check. Now, to quote Clue, I'm going to go home and sleep with my wife.
I mean, I don't think he's an asshole. I think Julia is an asshole
Yeah.
who needs lots of help. And like, yo, mind your fucking business. Why are you gonna tell my wife I said she's fat? Yo, fuck you. You don't even know my wife.
Oh, yeah, exactly. Who are
And
you?
even if you did, why are you gonna hit up my wife? Yo, Julia is the one who needs help here.
Julia doesn't love herself, and that's clear.
Yeah, trying to be Captain Save-A-Ho for all the fat people when she ain't even fat.
Meanwhile, Carol is like, hello, I'm happy, and I love myself.
And my husband.
Mind your business.
And she loves her husband.
Exactly.
Julia's an asshole.
Julia's an asshole. He's not an asshole.
No. And I would say he's considerate because he is not calling her curvy because that's the thing his wife doesn't like.
Right.
And she even said, I hate that curvy shit. Fat and beautiful.
She did say that.
Yeah, he got a proud BBW and loves his BBW.
I think it's really awkward that HR had to get involved and there had to be an investigation.
There didn't have to be. Julia made it an investigation and turned it into this other thing because Julia was dissatisfied with the fact that she couldn't speak to the wife and that when she did speak to the wife in the fashion she didn't want to, that the wife was like, oh yeah, I'm good, thanks.
But my wife is none of your business. What my wife does, what I say about my wife is just that. My wife is none of your business, Julia.
I agree.
I don't understand. I wouldn't have even picked up the phone to call her because it just doesn't make sense to do so.
It does if she's going to send a random Instagram message because you don't know how that's going to come across.
I get calling the wife to alert her that this thing is going on at work, but I don't think the wife needed to prove to Julia anything. That's what I'm saying.
Got it.
I don't think there needed to be a, hey, Julia, come listen in while I call my wife and ask her a question. I don't think that was necessary. Do I think that he did the right thing by calling his wife and letting her know that this might be coming, this might happen? Sure. But yeah, this speaks to a deeper, darker
criminal link?
Yes.
Don't have friends at work? That's what you're about to say?
Oh, I'm about to say.
Because I know your style.
Listen, I think that you can be friendly at work. I just don't think that everybody needs to be your friend at work.
Yeah, I agree.
I think you find out after you leave a job who you really can be friends with and who you can't be friends with from work. And you do end up leaving jobs with friendships. It's not to say that you don't or you shouldn't. But you should be super mindful of what's going on when you are actually sitting at that desk or doing whatever you're doing, whatever your job is, among people that you only know in this space.
Yeah. Because you never know who's going to take things to HR.
Right, and people have their own interests at heart, and that's fine because you're at work and there's nothing wrong with that. But that means that these friendships, a lot of them are not actually real.
Yeah.
They're just a way to pass the time while especially when you have shared gripes over a job or something like that. People tend to bond over things like that. And that's cool for the time being, but let there be a job on the table, a promotion or something, or let there be, I don't know, some sort of outside force, whether it be a manager or another coworker or something like that, and you'll see people kind of flip a little bit. Because again, they have their interests at heart. People are there to make money, so what are they going to do? They're going to try to make sure they succeed to make their money.
Yeah, but her fighting her demons don't got shit to do with homeboy's wife.
Oh no, absolutely
she need
not.
to take that to her therapist.
She has to take it to the therapist. She seems to have self-esteem issues. Maybe a bit of body dysmorphia going on over there. And I respect that. You know, some people struggle, so she should go get help and figure that out. But leave this man and his wife alone.
And 120 is far from fat.
But that's what I'm saying. Maybe there's some body dysmorphia there. What she sees in the mirror is probably not what we're all seeing. That happens.
Yeah.
So, you know, but nah, she's the asshole. He just sounds like a man who loves his wife and respects his wife.
That's it.
And that's it. So, yeah. And I'm glad this went in the direction it did. I didn't know what way it was going to go in. I read pieces of it. I try not to. I want to be just as surprised as you are when we read some of these. So I try not to read the whole thing. So I'm actually pleasantly surprised that it went in this direction because I had no idea what that man was going to say about his wife.
Me either.
But yeah.
All right.
Well, that's that. She's the asshole, not him.
Yep.
All right.
You gotta get solid.